why nerves are the secret source of public speaking and how to maximize their presence. Hello, I'm Malcolm Cox and welcome to Tuesday Teaching Tips, episode 130. And this is the fourth and final episode of a series of four on the topic of how to deal with nerves. Now, if you haven't heard the previous three, I'd recommend you go back and listen to those, watch those before this one, because they will set the context of the different phases of public speaking in which we feel nervous. So the preparation phase, that was episode 127, then 128 was all about the nervousness we feel just before we go up to speak. Episode 129 was all about what happens when we're in the middle of a presentation, of a lesson, and we feel nervous. And today we're talking about what happens when we feel nervous after we've finished. As we're walking, stepping down off the stage, as we're chatting to people afterwards, driving home, thinking about what we said, what we didn't say, whether we got it right, got it wrong, what we did well, what we didn't do so well, how people looked, whether anybody fell asleep. All these things are going through our minds and we can feel very nervous about that, perhaps even anxious. So there are some things we can do that will help that to be productive rather than just a whole whirling vortex of feelings that don't actually help us. So what do? The first thing we do is we need to do a proper review. So number one is set some time aside to properly review your lesson. In other words, make it deliberate. Whether you've got 5 minutes or an hour, make some time. Maybe it's that same day, maybe it's the next day, maybe it's sometime later in the week. Don't do it too far afterwards because you won't remember it very well, but do set some time aside to do a proper review. Make it intentional. Secondly, connected with that is to ask someone safe for some feedback. So this is someone who has your best interests at heart and will give you some useful feedback, and you trust their motives. They're not going to be there to tear you down or to make you feel bad. They may have some feedback that's entirely positive. They may have some things for you to work on. That's okay, but you trust them. So ask for some feedback from a safe person. Thirdly, watch the video if it's available, or listen to the audio if that's available. And if neither of those are likely to be available, make your own recording. I do this sometimes. I'll just have the phone, stick it on the lectern or even in my pocket and stick it on voice recorder, and that will do. Even if it's a scratchy old recording, it'll be enough for my purposes to listen and review the message. And the thing that does is maybe to remind you of things you could have done better, but it will also reveal to you the things that you did well that you've forgotten. And I don't know about you, but I often forget the things I did well rather and actually remember the things I didn't do so well. And then I need to have a balance of those things, and listening to the recording can help you to get a better balance so that you remember what you did well. And then also decide to give yourself grace. Decide to give yourself grace and forgive yourself for any mistakes you make. God has forgiven you. He's glad you're up there. He's very grateful that you've taken the time and effort to present His word to other people. Thus, He's not going to hold against you some mistakes you made. Just learn from them. But if God's going to forgive you, you've got to forgive yourself. Give yourself some grace. Remember the positives. And bear in mind that no one has given a perfect presentation, and no one ever will. I certainly haven't. God is not expecting perfection. He's only expecting that you will do your best, and where you make mistakes, you learn and grow. And He's there to help you with that because the Spirit is with you. So those are some thoughts. One last thing I would say is that it's important to take away one thing to improve. Don't write down 10 things to work on. It's overwhelming and you won't get it done and you'll forget most of them. Take one thing to improve. I mean, if you improve one thing per presentation over a lifetime, by the time you're done, you're going to be pretty good. I expect you're pretty good already, probably better than you think you are. But you're going to grow and learn and improve as the weeks and months and years go by if you just focus on one thing at a time. Our nerves can sharpen us in our presentations, in our performance, in our talking. The nerves can help us to be better rather than worse. They are our friend. They don't have to be our enemy. Let the nerves be something that creates greater excitement in you about what you are doing for God. Well, I hope these 4 episodes have been useful. Nerves is something that's going to be with us all through our speaking life. Let's learn how to use them to our advantage and the advantage of the people to whom we are speaking, rather than let them get in the way. I'd love to know what you think, so please leave a note, a comment wherever you see this recording. Leave it publicly so that we can learn from each other, because we learn best when we learn in community. If you know someone who would benefit from this, please pass the link on to them. And if you could, hit that like button, the subscribe button. And until the next time, I hope you have a terrific Tuesday and a wonderful week. Take care and God bless.